Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Tonight we are interviewing Zach Mais. I hope I said his last name right. Zach is a good friend. We met at We Are Ocean Camp, and he had the same cancer that I did. We both had Hodgkin's lymphoma, and his was stage 2. And so he's going to come on and tell us his story. So, welcome, Zach.
Uh,
Hello.
Thanks for having me. Yes,
Yeah.
you pronounced my name right. It's Mais.
Okay. Good. I was like, oh shoot, I've never actually said it out loud.
I was like, when I heard people saying your name before I introduced myself, like for the whole trip, I was like, is it Marisa or Marissa? Like, I don't know. And I just
Nobody knows.
I just didn't. I was like, I'm just not gonna talk to her.
I'm just gonna avoid her. The best way to solve that issue.
Confrontation.
Okay, well, I'm super glad that you took the time. Can you just start by maybe telling us how you found out that you had cancer?
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, I had stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma. So, I mean, I had some symptoms that I didn't know were symptoms. Like I had, I don't know, itchiness was one of my big symptoms. I had for probably like a couple weeks. I just had really itchy ankles.
That's so weird.
Yeah,
I
like
didn't have that.
yeah, no one does. But and it was so funny. Like at the time, this is like way before I knew anything was wrong. I'd be itching my ankles like crazy, and I'd look over at my roommate, like, bro, I think I have some sort of disease. Like,
You did.
and it was just
Oh
wild.
my gosh.
And then like I started to get swollen lymph nodes. I had like 2 that were symmetrical on like
Really?
right on my collarbone. They were small ones, so I thought that I like always had them. I was like, I never noticed those before. Like,
I
'cause they
never
were,
noticed these birthmarks.
yeah, exactly. And then I got a huge one like on this side of my neck. It was just giant. And like when I coughed, I was vaping at the time, so I had a bad cough. And like
Hmm.
coughed, it would literally come out of my neck. It was just giant.
Oh,
And so like I went and saw someone and he didn't really know what it was. And so then I went to work that day and they sent me to the Hoag ER. They're like, just go. I was a host at a restaurant at the time. And so I was there for like many hours just doing tests. I got there at like 7 or 6 p.m. and I left at like 4 a.m. Just
oh my gosh.
was there all night. They were doing tests. Hoagie yards, always
Wow.
backed up. It was crazy. And then finally, I was there all alone for like that whole 9 hours too. And then finally, I was in the bed.
No
And
one knew, right? Didn't you go and did your family or friends know where you were?
no, I was living like so. I was just I was literally at work. No one knew that, like, and I didn't even think it was anything at the time. So
Hmm.
like, I wasn't gonna tell anyone. Like, I'm very like I don't like to tell people stuff. So like that's how well I didn't like to tell anyone that I possibly I just didn't know what was going on, so I didn't say anything.
Yeah. Not an
And then
alarmist.
yeah, exactly. That's a perfect way of putting it. And so yeah, he came back. He's like, I think you have Hodgkin's, or he said, I think you have cancer. And I was like,
Hmm.
he's like, yeah, it's Hodgkin's lymphoma. I was like, what the hell? And then I was so tired. Literally, I was like, all right, cool. Like, can I leave? I didn't even ask him any questions or anything. I just like, all right, I'm gonna leave now.
Hmm.
Went home. I was living in a sober living at the time, trying to get sober. So like that was not too good on that. I told my roommate who's like 40 and he has like 2 kids. And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah. And then like the next week went by and I didn't say anything, do anything about it.
Hmm.
Kind of kind of just pretending everything was normal.
Did
And
you think you like were you in shock or were you just like
I don't. It's so hard to tell because like you have to understand right before this time, like I was just a diehard alcoholic, like just the type of people you read about in books, like just drinking to just like just I was very bad alcoholic. Like just
Mhm.
to leave it at a short answer, that was where I was at. And when I got sober, like I wasn't really doing anything about it. Like I wasn't working a program. I was just kind of cold turkeying it. So like my mind was not really 100% whatsoever. It was in a very sad state, like just not really aware of what was going on and what was happening. So like I don't know what my immediate reaction was to hearing the news, but like it was just I don't know. It just kind of like numb.
Mm.
Anyways, so like a week goes by and my roommate who has 2 kids who are back east, he's like, "Bro, have you not told your parents yet?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "If my kids had cancer and they didn't tell me, I would go up back to the east and just." He was like, "You need to tell your parents right now."
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I called my mom and dad, and they were like super calm about it. They were just like,
Mm.
they were so calm. I thought they were gonna be freaking out, and they were just like, "Okay, like like, let's take care of this." Like, and they hung up, and then like the day, like next day, I knew immediately. They just did so much research and so much stuff. Called a bunch of people, immediately got the best doctor, like all this crazy stuff. And I was like, okay, but it never really sunk in yet. And it's like I went out, got absolutely, like I said, I was struggling in recovery, so I went out, got absolutely hammered. Woke up in the hospital after like 2 or 3 days of just pure blackout. They found me just they didn't know what to do with me, so they put me in Hoag ER.
Mm.
And my doctor, who I was just started seeing at the time, she works close to Hoag, and she heard about the incident. And she was like, uh, if you don't get sober and like actually do the work, I'm gonna make you do chemo from rehab, where like you're not allowed to see family or friends. And that was like the hardest thing I've ever heard. That was like when it all sank in for me. Like it just emotionally just drained. Um, that was because I just, well, like when you're going through something that crazy, you want to be with your family, you want to be around people. So I was just like, I can't do it.
Was that also, I would imagine it's like double kind of crazy because that also means you have to get sober.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So like the getting sober part was basically my number one because at the end of the day, like I'm a diehard alcoholic. So like if I put anything in front of that, like I can easily slip and maybe not make it back. So when someone tells you you have cancer and you need to fight that, but you're also fighting alcoholism in a way, like I needed to just focus on my sobriety, and then hopefully the cancer just, everything just works out the way that it needs to work out. And
Mhm.
luckily I was fortunate enough. That's what happened. I put my sobriety first, and um, just life took over, and chemo went great, and I ended up staying sober through chemo, and you know, um,
Wow.
sober now. So that was the biggest wake up call when my doctor told me that I had to do chemo from rehab. I was like, no, I can't do it. I just decided to buckle up and do the deal,
Yeah.
and it's been pretty great ever since that. Like I don't know, I take a lot of tragedies, and back in the day, I would like sulk over them and, this and that. But now it's like every tragedy that's happened in the past 2 years of my life, I've just been some of the greatest teaching experiences and like
Mhm.
motivation to put my life on track to where it is now. So, um,
Mhm. Yeah, it seems like, is it kind of empowering? Like, I don't know, chemo is really hard, but then like the fact that you had to get sober, like, was that sort of like, I can do this? Like, I just got sober,
yeah,
and not only that, but I got through chemo. So
yeah,
what else can I do? Like, what
yeah,
other trials? Okay, I just survived some pretty intense ones. So,
yeah. So like I went through chemo, did that, and like now I'm sober. And yeah, like you said, chemo is obviously not the easiest thing in the world. Like it sucks. Um, And same with getting sober. It's not easy and it sucks. But once you do it, you do get like some serious like, okay, like if I can do these things, like what's stopping me from doing whatever I want, like from accomplishing, things that I've never
Hmm.
thought I'd be able to accomplish. And that's something that I struggled with deeply, very deeply, like as a child and even as like a young teenager, young kid. And I never thought I'd be anything that I wanted to be, especially like, just having a stable job and like being able to provide for a family one day. Like I never thought that would be like me, that I'd be in my reach. But now, I think it's just a matter of time. But it's definitely
Do,
given me some confidence on what I can do and how I can do it.
does that make you like, in the long run, does it make you thankful that you had cancer?
Um, yes, honestly, it's looking back on it, it's like, whenever you get something like that, it's just like, wow, this sucks. But now, and it's still pretty fresh. I've only been in remission for a year, just over a year. But yeah, it's something that I like try to take and turn into a positive day to day. But it's a process. It's not something that's just going to happen overnight. Um,
Mhm.
you can feel sorry for yourself, but at the end of the day, we all have problems, and some of us choose to turn those problems into solutions, and some of us just fall to the wayside by them. So
Yeah. Um, yeah, I like that because I think it's easy to feel like you're a victim with cancer. Um, and heck, maybe we are, but to decide to not be the victim, I think makes all the difference.
yeah,
And deciding like, okay, yeah, this happened. That was a bummer, but like I'm still gonna, do what I have to do, and I'm not just gonna say, oh, boo-hoo, I had cancer, and
yeah. It's easy to look down. Are you getting an echo on your side?
just now, but not normally.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it's easy. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh shoot.
Easy
Uh,
to think like a victim.
oh yeah, it's easy to think that we're kind of like victims, but in the long run, if you take a look at like, that's one of the best experience. That's one of the greatest things that I got from We Are Ocean. Like when I heard Alondra's story and like everything that she went through with chemo, and like I just like, how she, I don't want to put her story on blast, but like she said some things in the campfire that were like, she had it way worse than I did. Like that sounded terrible. Like, and so many stories are like that. Like
Um,
at the end of the day, like yeah, we've all had stuff happen to us, but like there's always someone out there that has it way worse. So you just, I don't know, you just got to look at it from different perspectives.
I totally agree. And yeah, I think that we can both say like, yeah, chemo is really hard. And it was hard, but I do think about the fact that like, okay, I had 9 months of chemo. And I was outpatient, so meaning I just had to go in for a couple hours, a couple
Yeah,
times a week. And I know that there are people like I think Alondra,
yeah,
some
she was
people
in the
were in the
hospital.
hospital. They had to stay there. Same with Quinn. I believe that she had to be in the hospital for long periods of time. Some people in the hospital for like years. And like just with what I went through, I'm like, I can't imagine being in a hospital for years. So it does make me thankful, and I feel like I got like a little taste of what some of these people go through. Because,
Yeah,
like you said, hearing other stories, it's like, wow,
it's
I just got
different.
a small taste of what that was like.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, so at this point, are you doing anything that you've found, like you did We Are Ocean, which you said was, awesome. Have you been doing anything else that's been, I don't know, therapeutic or helpful or, nutrition wise? Are you doing anything that you've just noticed has been helping?
Honestly, oh wow, that echo. Do you hear that echo on your end?
No, I don't think I hear it. Or maybe it's just on your end.
Oh wow.
I'm not getting it.
Okay, cool. Repeat your question.
Are you like doing anything, taking anything, changing your diet, or doing anything that you've found is helpful that other people might benefit from?
After the fact, no, not really. The only thing that I'm doing differently now is working out, but that's because I couldn't work out because I had a broken wrist, and you can't really
Yeah.
work out when you're doing chemo.
That's right. I forgot about your. How could I forget your broken wrist?
Yeah, I literally just started working out like the past couple weeks, and it's been so nice.
Feels good.
Yeah, it feels so good. And like I just
Nice.
started surfing again, and like doing all this stuff, golfing. I love to golf. I love to surf, and I just started to get to do all that, and it's so nice. Literally 2 years, my wrist has been broken.
I would imagine, this is just me guessing, that it might be like, okay, I had chemo and a broken wrist, and so now I'm just gonna enjoy life and like do all the things that I really missed doing.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to get to do stuff that like I wasn't able to do for so long.
Yeah.
When I was diagnosed with cancer, that was like I want to say like the week before coronavirus hit.
Whoa.
And so when coronavirus hit, no one knew anything about it, but like all the headlines were, if you have diabetes or cancer, like it's not good. It doesn't look good for you.
Look, not too good.
Yeah. So I was literally like on lockdown at my parents' house. Like didn't see anyone, no one in or out. I just took long walks. That's the one thing that helped me a lot is long walks. Like if you have the strength to go on a long walk or just any sort of walk, my parents live in a really nice residential neighborhood and just a bunch of trees everywhere. And I used to hate walking. Like now I love it. Now I go on walks like every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. I think there's something about like walking in nature, like where there are like trees, like a beautiful place like that. It's just sort of calming. Yeah, walks have been good. I actually just got back from a walk right before this.
Yeah, my house now is like less than a mile from this beautiful lookout spot, like overlooks the whole Newport Bay and the ocean. Sweet.
Perfect. Yeah, that's the perfect spot.
Ideal.
Well, do you have any advice for someone who may have just got their diagnosis, and or what's a major thing that you've learned? Why don't we start with what have you learned, and then we'll go back to the other one.
Okay. What I've learned, shoot, honestly, oh my goodness, that's such a loaded question because I've just learned like so much. Honestly, it's gonna sound weird because it doesn't really necessarily directly have anything to do with cancer, but it does in a pretty big way. Relationships with people, like real relationships with people, because I never had any of those before, like when I was drinking and alcoholic, and cancer and becoming sober has given me so much real, like authentic relationships with people that I truly care about, people that truly care about me. Don't take those for granted at all. Don't take them for granted. Love the people that your family, your friends. Don't be afraid to tell them that you love them. Um, that's the one thing I've learned, and it's probably my piece of advice too, is just cherish the people that are in your life because they you're not always going to be there for them, and they're not always going to be there for you. But while they're there, you should take advantage of that.
I like that. Well said. I totally agree, and that's a great place to end it.
Yes, it's beautiful. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for being on. It was really, really great. I know I got a lot out of it, and I'm sure people watching will too.
Yeah, I also got a lot out of it too. So thank you.
Yay! You're welcome. All right, Zach. Well, thanks again for coming on, and I will see you later, and I'll see everyone else later.
All
All
right,
right.
sounds good. Have a good
All
night.
right. You too.